All right, so today we are talking about something, uh, well, it's pretty iconic.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
everyone knows this creature,
Right.
the Texas horned lizard.
Ah, cool.
Pretty cool little animal.
Yeah.
And we've got this excerpt from the Texas horned lizard, Ecology, Behavior, and Conservation.
Perfect.
So we're going to be diving deep into this, learn a little bit about, well, I guess everything. I mean, where they live, what they eat, why they're in trouble, and what we can do about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's such a fascinating creature and, it's really evolved to thrive in such a, pretty intense environment.
Yeah, it is intense, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's hot, dry,
Arid. It's super arid.
yeah, arid, and they just blend right in.
Yeah, it's incredible. Their camouflage it's like top notch. You could
Hmm.
be walking along, you wouldn't even see them. They just disappear against the sand and the rocks.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. It's unbelievable. You can't even, like even when you're looking for them,
Right.
you miss them. Yeah.
Exactly.
So what do they eat?
So they're what we call specialized predators.
Uh-huh.
They feed almost exclusively on harvester ants.
Okay, so not a lot of variety in their diet.
No, they're really focused on these harvester ants.
Ants.
Yeah, and it might not sound that exciting, just eating ants all day long,
Right, right.
but it makes them incredibly important for the whole ecosystem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so these harvester ants, they can really do some damage if there's nothing to keep them in check.
Oh, right. Yeah, if they just get out of control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can wipe out entire plants, just completely decimate the plant life.
Wow.
So the horned lizard helps keep those populations under control.
Okay, so they're kind of like the ant police.
Exactly. Yeah, they are. And that benefits, all sorts of species. I mean, the plants, obviously, but then other animals that rely on those plants for their own survival.
So they're like what? Like guardians of the food web, these tiny little lizards.
Yeah, I mean, they have a huge impact.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I mean, they spend a lot of time just like sitting there.
They do, but they can also be pretty dramatic when they need to be.
Oh, right. They have that crazy, that blood squirting thing they do.
Exactly. They have some incredible defense mechanisms.
Tell me about that, because that sounds wild. Like, is that real? How does that even work?
Yeah. So imagine you're a coyote, you're hungry.
Yeah.
You see this lizard, you're like, okay, easy meal.
It's easy, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this stream of blood shoots out from its eyes right at you.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty startling.
It's got to be effective.
Yeah, it really is. And that's not just any blood.
No.
It actually contains this compound called
What is it?
L-erythro-3-phenol-4 dihydroxyphenylalanine.
Wow. Okay.
But we can just call it LDOPA, I think.
Yeah. Okay. LDOP. So it's not just like regular blood.
No, it's mixed with this chemical that's particularly irritating to canids, that family that includes coyotes and dogs.
Okay. So like specifically targeting those predators.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it causes this burning sensation in their mouths and throats, so they're pretty quick to back off.
Oh yeah, I bet. Okay. So it's like a really targeted defense mechanism. That's nature is amazing.
It really is.
But I mean, are those defenses enough though? Because we hear
Yeah.
all the time about how, they're struggling.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not always enough. They're facing a lot of challenges these days. I
Right.
mean, they're currently listed as a threatened species in Texas.
Oh, wow.
And there are a number of reasons for that, but one of the biggest is habitat loss.
Right, because I mean, more and more building and farms and things like
Like
that.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Urban areas are expanding, agricultural practices are intensifying, and all of that means less and less natural habitat for the horned lizard.
Right, right.
And then you've got pesticides,
Oh, right,
which, they're meant to target other insects,
right.
but they end up impacting the harvester ants as well.
And that's their food.
Exactly.
It's all connected.
Yeah, it's a chain reaction.
Like it all comes back to that delicate balance.
Exactly.
And I also remember reading about fire ants, invasive fire ants being a problem.
Yes, absolutely. So those invasive fire ants, they're super aggressive.
Oh, okay.
Much more so than the native ants.
Right.
And they outcompete the native species, including the harvester ants that the horned lizards rely on.
Oh, man.
So it's like a double whammy. You've got less food available and you're having to compete with this much tougher, more aggressive ant for it.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation.
So is there any good news?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's always hope, right?
Yeah.
There are people working really hard to protect the Texas horned lizard.
Okay.
So a lot of it comes down to habitat restoration,
Okay.
creating these safe havens where these lizards can thrive, where there's plenty of harvester ants, minimal threats from those invasive fire ants and things like that.
Right.
And there are some great initiatives out there. The Texas Horned Lizard Recovery Plan, for example.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, they're doing some fantastic work. They're focusing on restoring those native plant communities, creating corridors that connect these fragmented habitats because that allows for gene flow and, it helps populations to grow.
So it's like, it's more than just like saving individual lizards. It's like you have to save their entire world.
Exactly. You have to protect the whole ecosystem,
That makes sense.
and captive breeding programs are also playing a really important role.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the one at the Fort Worth Zoo. They're doing great things.
Oh, cool.
They breed horned lizards in a safe environment, and then they release them back into, carefully selected areas to help boost those wild populations.
That's great.
Yeah.
So there's some hope. I mean, this has been a really interesting deep dive. It's amazing how much you can learn just from one animal,
Yeah, I agree.
the Texas horned lizard, and all about, how interconnected everything is,
It's
and how much of an impact, we as humans are having.
Yeah, I mean, it really highlights that connection between, what we do and the impact it has on the natural world.
Right, for sure.
And it leaves us with a really important question, what role can each of us play in ensuring the survival of this species?
Oh, yeah, that is a great question.
Yeah, I mean, will you be inspired to support those conservation organizations or maybe advocate for more responsible land management
Right.
or even, create a more lizard-friendly habitat in your own backyard? These are all things to think about. Because, ultimately the future of the Texas horned lizard and really the health of the whole ecosystem, it depends on us.
Our actions.
Yeah, big and small. Yeah.
That's a great point. Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and everyone out there, get out there, learn more about these horned lizards, and think about what you can do
Yeah.
to help.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.